En esta sesión que empezamos ahora a las 12, llamada BTALENT, reubicar talentos, no empresas, vamos a hablar de una de las consecuencias que nos ha dejado la COVID. Esta crisis sí que permitió a la fuerza laboral flexibilizar las condiciones laborales y de movilidad de los trabajadores. Pasamos de los puestos clásicos de trabajo a una enorme fuerza laboral que podríamos llamar nómada. ¿Cómo atraemos a este talento? Es la gran pregunta que se hacen hoy las empresas y las agencias de promoción de inversión. Vamos a llevar a cabo este análisis con diversos expertos. Una de ellas la tengo físicamente aquí a mi lado, es Laila Jareb. Laila, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you very much.
También tenemos online a diversos ponentes, son Augusto Castellanos, Carolina Cuenca y Sonia Wolkoff. Good morning, thank you for being here.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And
Thank you for having me.
And we're having again Douglas Vandenberge as our moderator. He did a great job in the last panel, and we're having him again. Douglas Vandenberge es CEO de Next Zones y FDI 4.0, una red global integrada de zonas económicas e industriales, pero también sobre sostenibilidad e industria 4.0. I'll leave you with that.
Thank you for the kind introduction. I'm just jumping from one panel to the other, so apologies for the little rush. Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We're really looking forward to this great session. We have an interesting mix of people that are going to be talking about talent, and talent is obviously something that is very broad. And one of the objectives of this session is to provide some more insights in the role of talent when you attract investment, and the role of talent and the role of talent with what it plays for companies when they operate or internationalize specific businesses. In the previous panel on FDI 4.0, we also emphasized talent as an important one: talent, leadership, entrepreneurship, etc. And what can countries or cities do to nurture and to keep talent and new talent available and attract talent? Because talent is obviously something that needs to be attracted as well to specific cities, and vice versa, because in traditional settings, many countries and locations sort of want to bring in talent through attracting foreign investors. That's the traditional approach. But what can cities and countries do to actually have a talent base available that is available to work within the turning things around? That's something that the new economy really requires. And I have a very interesting panel, as mentioned. We have, I'll first introduce Ms. Laila Jareb. She's the CEO of the Alive Group. She's also the person that's the only one in this panel that's actually live in Barcelona. So welcome to this panel. I appreciate your attendance. Then next we have Carolina Cuenca. She's based in Buenos Aires in Argentina. She's the National Director of International Relations of the Government of the City. Welcome, Carolina.
Thank you.
You can attend. It's quite early morning for you, I guess. And then we have, from another part of the world, we have Mr. Augusto Fernando Cardenas. He's based in Abu Dhabi, in the UAE, and he's representing the Abu Dhabi Investment Office. He's one of the CEOs and directors of the organization. And then finally, the closest one actually to Barcelona and to where I'm based in Amsterdam, is Miss Sonia Wolkoff. She's the CEO of the Greater Zurich area, GZA. GZA is actually the organization, the regional or city level investment promotion agency responsible for actually growing the base of foreign companies into Zurich. And Sonia and I have known each other for more than 20 years. We haven't seen each other much over the last couple of years, but she's been involved for many years and very successful in attracting investment to the Zurich area. So I'd like to start with Sonia, giving her the floor for one of the first questions. And please, listeners, attendees, feel free to ask questions to this panel. You have a very good pool of experts that can answer your question. And for the panelists, if we get any questions in from the audience, I will ask the question to all of you, and you may raise your hand if you would like to answer that. For the people that are online, you can raise your hand digitally, Laila, you can just raise your hand in the studio if you are located in Barcelona, and I will make sure that you can answer the question. We have about 50 minutes, so please let's move on. Sonia, one of the first questions when it comes down to talent is Switzerland and the Greater Zurich area. I guess the Greater Zurich area is sort of the metro of Zurich. They have been leading in the talent and innovation rankings for several years now. What sort of makes your region so attractive as a location to invest and work, live, and play? Sort of the three concepts of the new economy. What is that? What are the reasons for that?
Thank you very much for the question, Douglas. So I think it's the factor that matters most in today's world. It's the access to talent. As we boost a lot of research institutes, the best technology university in Europe, and a lot of peer companies which are interesting for people to work for. So we really can boost the economy with new talents, but also new companies. And I think what Switzerland stands for is reliability, a factor that has become more and more important, but also all the technology we have and everything, the whole innovation you can read about. And I think that makes it very, very attractive. And finally, our quality of life. I mean, I think it's exceptional, and it's in a stable political, economical environment.
Apologies. I'm not at my best when I'm muted, so apologies for that. Now, quality of life is obviously a one that's emphasized from many angles. Miss Laila, from the UAE's perspective, attracting talent has always been at the forefront of the economic growth policy of the UAE, whether that's Abu Dhabi or Dubai or one of the other Emirates. It's the focus on talent and nurturing talent. How has the UAE been able to attract talent and to maintain its economic growth?
Thank you for having me again, and it's great to be here in the great city of Barcelona. Talking about UAE, being an Emirati, I'm extremely proud, first of all, in being in such a very modern country, very young country and modern. We have to understand the dynamics of the development of UAE strategies, which is very rapid actually, and it's always proactive with the changes of the world. We have recently launched the talent strategy to attract talent after COVID, because COVID has changed so many things, different factors has changed. So in June, we have actually, released the new governmental talent strategy. And from UAE, we look at the cycle of attracting talent. So the enablers factors, and then retaining the talent and supporting the growth of this talent. So we are looking at the talent from a competitive point of view, because all our strategies in UAE is to maintain a very high rank in the competitive indexes. So there is the Global Competitive Index of Talent, and it covers all aspects of the cycle of attracting, retaining, and growing talent. When we look at talent, we look at different factors. We look at the talent, the demographics of the talent, and then the talent factors and drivers to come in the UAE. When we look at the talent demographics, we have a lot of initiatives for different categories in the demographics. So when we are looking at young talent, for example, it's very crucial for them to have learning, life learning capabilities in the country, to have professional certificates. The education system is extremely important. The growth factor is extremely important for them. So we focus on attracting companies with innovative strategies, companies where it can attract the young talent and they can see themselves grow and they can align their goals and ambitions with those companies. when we look at retirement demographics, we also provide visas for the retirement demographics, and not only to bring the investment in UAE, but also to capitalize on the knowledge that this retirement sector has. So we have different kind of visas: golden visa for retirement, golden visa for even for the gig economy. So after the COVID, we understood that the gig economy is really growing rapidly. So you don't have to be connected to a company or an organization, but a lot of people are working freelance, working on gigs. So we provided the visa for those gig economy and freelance visa, and not necessarily to be in the UAE to work to support the economic growth in the UAE. And we look at other factors as well. People are coming to find greater place for their families. So we create a whole environment for them to support the growth of the family, security of their family, like education systems and health systems, even the development of the cities, the urbanization of the city. We have ensured that the development of the cities will support attracting those families and retaining them, creating a better life for them. Yes.
Thank you, Laila, for emphasizing. There's probably something that I come back to. It's something that's a question that came up while listening to Sonia. The question is, I think about it, I'm going to ask it right now. Is talent perhaps more important than foreign direct investment? Attracting talent is more important than
we could not hear because of I think my colleague as well, they couldn't hear the question.
Yes, sorry. One of the questions, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I think one of the critical questions is the question that came from listening to both you, Laila, and Sonia, is one that I just sort of thought about. Is perhaps attracting talent more important than attracting FDI in the future? Then you think about it. You don't have to answer it right now. I'd like to go to Carolina, based in Buenos Aires. Carolina, welcome again. How is Buenos Aires actively promoting and developing talent, and then focusing especially on the reopening of emerging economies like Argentina and Buenos Aires from the pandemic?
Thank you for the question. Hello, everyone there and everywhere. Actually, talent is definitely Buenos Aires' greatest competitive advantage because, quality and quantity of qualified human capital here in the city is our main advantage. Actually, we are having a lot of talent here in the city, but the plan is how we maintain and how we increase those quantity, and we definitely need a special public politics, and how to attract those people is the main issue for us, especially this year. I think Sonia already said about the importance of quality of life, which is a critical factor, especially after the pandemic, and how can we convince people to choose Buenos Aires when we have so many special conditions after the pandemic. So Buenos Aires is a great city, not only to live, but to visit, to study, and to make business. For many years, Buenos Aires has ranked as one of the most livable and safest cities in Latin America, and especially in the latest years, is one of the most accessible and affordable cities, especially in a maybe not the best context, economical context. But we have diversity. We have one of the best cultural and academic offerings in the region. And that's one of the things that people who is thinking maybe where is going to live or to start a business the next 4 or 6 or a year, month, is thinking about all of this. So, for example, 2 months ago, we made an event for the international reopening of Buenos Aires. We want to tell people that Buenos Aires was ready to receive people again, and talent was one of the pillars, because actually it's one of our main strategic sector that want to work. As I said, Buenos Aires is a city of unicorn. If you think, we have so many unicorns that has born in Buenos Aires, and especially during the last years, we have companies such as Mercado Libre, Globant, Voila, OLX, and we have to make the best politics to retain them and to attract any more people. That is why we are launching a special program a couple of months ago, which is called Digital Nomads Buenos Aires, that plans to attract 22,000 digital nomads by 2023. And we offer them special incentives such as the discounts on accommodations, discounts for co-working spaces, personalized supports to facilitate their stays in Buenos Aires. We help them to choose the place where they have to live, where they want to spend some cultural time. We are going to wait for them at the airport and give them some telephone card and the card that you need in Buenos Aires for moving into the space in the public transportation. So digital nomads, I don't remember who of you mentioned that, but for sure is one of the special targets that we want to aim with a special politic this year. And actually, in November, we are having our conference, Nomads BTA, which is going to be for sure one of our milestones this year. We are going to host this conference with very, very international speakers, of high-level speakers. And plus that, I think the last colleague mentioned the excellent academic offering at all educational levels that Buenos Aires has. I mean, we are the #1 best student city LATAM according to the QS ranking. We are the second best city in Latin America to live according to the Economist rankings. So we have to think clever how we do to get all this information to the right people, the people who are thinking where is going to spend the next 6 months or 12 months of their lives. We have definitely an university hub in Buenos Aires. We have 41 universities that offer more than 8,000 programs at all areas of knowledge, especially about applied science, health science, human science, IT, technology, which are one of the best academic offers in the regions. So I think that we already have a lot of talent in Buenos Aires. The challenge is going to be how to attract more. And is not, finally, least but not last, Buenos Aires has a very diverse community. We are very, we have more than 50 different communities in Buenos Aires, and they all live very, not only peaceful, but even integrated, and that's great here. And we are one of the preferred cities of millennials and one of the 10 friendliest in the world for the LGBT community. So, we have a lot of things to offer to talent to choose Buenos Aires.
Thank you, Carolina. I hear a lot of rankings with all the speakers, and sort of every city is ranked #1 somewhere on a different ranking, which I truly appreciate. I think it's always a challenge to find the city where it has the highest quality of life, is most affordable, it is the most receptive for talent, culturally, it's integrated as much in the world as it can, politically stable, safety, crime, etc. I don't think there is any city like that in the world yet. And obviously you from your angles would probably say, Sonia would probably say, no, it's Zurich. And you would say, Buenos Aires. So, and then it's Dubai or Abu Dhabi. So I think, every city, I think it's key here to identify what are the uniqueness and the specificity of each city for talent. I think that's important. So, and talent is very diverse. So probably, looking for, as countries, I've always highlighted it in working with many countries and many governments. It's trying to focus on your unique competitive advantage, not on your comparative advantage. Your competitive advantage. What are your UCAs, your unique competitive advantage? Which are the ones that are really unique, and how do you sell it? Augusto, turning to Abu Dhabi, the other part of the world, having listened to all those rankings and to all those good stories about the city of unicorn, for instance, and the digital nomads, can you share us a little bit more insights from Abu Dhabi in terms of what is it that makes Abu Dhabi attract and retain and nurture talent?
Happy to do it, Douglas. So first of all, thank you so much for having me here. And of course, I'm delighted to be with all my fellow co-panelists and hearing all these rankings. My apologies, I'm not in the setting that we arranged because I had a family emergency. But I want to start from here because actually this is one of the beauties of Abu Dhabi, that it has one of the fastest internet broadband connections in the world. That actually you can connect wherever you are. So right now, I'm not in my home, I'm not in my office, but you can hear me very well and you can see me very well. And that's the beauty for attract talent to Abu Dhabi. So I just want to echo maybe Ms. Leila words, saying that it's not about only attracting talent, but also retaining talent. And in the case of Abu Dhabi, what we are doing is we are creating this type of ecosystem for talent pool, ecosystems that are specialized in different industries. So let me tell you a couple of examples. First of all, we have an ecosystem such as Masdar. Masdar that is, was built as a smart city, and it's all about sustainability. Right now, for instance, and I don't know if you have seen the news in the last 2 months, but the UAE launched its first mission to Mars, and the aerospace base is in Masdar right now. Also, we have, and Douglas, you asked me about uniqueness of each, one of the cities. Well, in Abu Dhabi and specifically Masdar, we have the first quantum computer in the UAE, which of course facilitates all the developments of ICT solutions and is a flagship facility for innovation. Another example, and I think this is very important, is 2454. 2454 is a cluster for video games and media, and it's all specialized in these two sectors. And as you might understand, especially in these two sectors, the key factor is talent. So we are attracting designers, we are attracting gaming developers, we are attracting production movies and production films, all of them creating this strong ecosystem in the city. And one last example maybe is ADGM, Abu Dhabi Global Market, which basically is a financial hub. It's an island which works with a very unique, that is the key word I think, Douglas, unique legal framework. It's a framework that follows the British common law. So it allows foreign companies to establish here or cover different countries around the world, right? And about the talent for investment, which is of course very important, I think one thing that I want to highlight from Abu Dhabi, especially from the UAE, is that, well, 90% of the population is expat. So me, for example, as I explained before, I'm not, from here, but that's the beauty of Abu Dhabi and the UAE in general, that you work with a very diverse talent pool and very young people that is preparing. And the government is very committed to prepare that talent pool. That's why you have very strong local universities. So, for example, again, talking about uniqueness, we have the first artificial intelligence university in the world based in Abu Dhabi. But you have very well recognized, very well known universities established here in Abu Dhabi. You have NYU from the United States, New York. You have INSEAD. You have Seoul National University from Korea. So you have a bunch of universities from all over the world preparing and educating the local talent. So when a company is looking at Abu Dhabi, it's not only the availability of the talent pool that they can have here, but also the easiness to attract new talent. And for that matter, Abu Dhabi Investment Office is an entity that, of course, assists and helps all the companies to attract these people. So we facilitate all the landing process. But even more important, when we are talking about an innovation company, we are talking about a disruptive project in Abu Dhabi. We even, as Abu Dhabi Investment Office, can offer, financial incentives for companies to attract those people, to attract, the talent that the companies are looking to position Abu Dhabi as the knowledge hub that is, working so hard to do it. So yeah, I think I will say that we are attracting and retaining, as Leila said, but we are doing so with a strong infrastructure in terms of internet, a strong infrastructure in terms of universities, and a strong cluster in different sectors that are, the ones that are guiding the future in terms of innovation.
Thank you, Augusta. I think you're all giving a very good overview of the menu any city or country should have to sort of attract talent. I think that's very important. Laila, returning back to you, you are also from the private sector, and in terms of taking a more private sector approach, how can your organization, in a much broader context, establish retention strategies to keep, for instance, talented people, and how, for instance, does a city or a location play a role in this process, or can play a role in this process, or perhaps offer services that make it easier for companies in a specific jurisdiction or location to retain talent?
Thank you for the question. But before answering this question, I just wanted to comment on Augusto and the excitement I hear from Augusto, which he was a talent attracted to Abu Dhabi, and you see him talking about such an excitement about the country is amazing. This is what UAE is doing. They are creating a lot of excitement, a lot of passionate projects, innovative projects. We are bringing, the most, I don't want to say outrageous, but, out there projects with the Expo, with the Virgin Galactic was about to operate from Al Ain and from Abu Dhabi. There are so many things that talent is not only coming for money or compensation or finances, but they are coming to be part of something big, to get those experiences which they cannot find anywhere else. So thank you, Augusto, for that kind of excitement. Yes.
Exactly. I cannot agree more with you.
Yes. So I worked in the government for 30 years. I'm a public servant retired. So now I work in the private sector as the CEO of my group of companies. But let me tell you, the government of the UAE and the private sector in UAE, they are operating in sync. So they are having the same strategies for attracting and retaining talent as the private sector. But when you talk about, we were talking about a lot of macro, outlook to cities and talents, but going deeper into an organization and looking at, how to retain or attract and retain talents from micro picture, we really need to look at the organization. We need to adapt a lot of strategies, especially after, the market has changed and the workforce has changed. The locations, the people are not driven now the same as they were driven before COVID. Even mentalities and priorities has shifted within the talent, within the market of human resources. So from an organization point of view, they need to start with credibility of the organization. So you need to build, as I said, the excitement when I talked about the country, you need to create the same excitement in your organization, what you are trying to achieve. How credible you are doing your business, you are treating your people. So you have to create a solid and credible image in order to attract talents from within the country and outside the country. Of course, you need to promote as well your location. So if I'm blessed that my companies are operating in Dubai. In Dubai, the ease of doing business is amazing. We are one of the top countries in the ease of business and doing business, and the lifestyle in Dubai is amazing. It's family oriented, it's social oriented, it's educational oriented. So my location was a great asset for my company to attract such talent. And after attracting these talents, you have to retain the talent. So you have whatever you promise them during the attraction process, you have to maintain your promise while managing your people or working together. Actually, there's no management now. So you have to maintain that kind of promises, and you have to maintain an inclusiveness of decision making. So in order to get the people and buy into your vision, they have to work beside you in achieving those kind of targets and objectives and whatever visionary objective you have. So you have to have inclusivity, you have to have equality, you have to have gender equality, you have to have so many social aspects, respect of so many social aspects within your organization in order to retain such talent. And then you have to ensure that they will be part of your long-term journey. So a lot of people would attract talent, but they will attract them for a short period of time, but they will not be able to retain them if they have a short-term objective of the utilization of such talent. So what you need to have is you need to have a long-term vision of how I'm going to include this kind of talent within the growth of my company. And you need to provide them with a lot of growth opportunities as well. People are not only looking for financials. People are looking for growth, for educational growth, for professional growth, for more experiences. So you have to have an open environment where they can participate. They have a bit of autonomous in decision making, and they grow with their decisions, with their mistakes, and so on. So this is what you really need to focus as a private organization.
Thank you, Laila. I like the emphasis on the sustainable development goals as well. You know, inclusiveness. I think that's very important. One other question that came up, we can resort to that later, is when you mentioned a few times that you need to offer growth opportunities to talent and workers. That's probably more important than money. To what extent is the whole thing offering impact, purpose-driven organization? Is that more important than money for attracting talent? Leave that question for later. I'd like to go to Sonia again. If we talk about talent more in general, which trends do you observe currently that will likely impact the ability of metropolitan regions, global regions, for instance, in Europe, to attract talent for investors? Sonia, I think you, yeah.
Thank you. Laila already mentioned it, that talent have changed their views on what is important to them when working for a company, or also when going to a country. And I think the pandemic has changed, has accelerated this change a lot. Now it's not about financials only, but it's also about being able to do work from home or even from worldwide. And a new criteria is health and safety and stability. I mean, you mentioned it, Douglas. I'm in the business for more than 20 years now. And when I started, this was also a criteria, this very important criteria. And HR heads came to evaluate the location. Then this ceased. It was only business development people and tax people and financial people who came to evaluate the location. But now we realized in the last few years, or especially in the last few months, that we now have the HR people coming again with the delegations to look at the location. And it's all about health services. It's about stable environment. It's about the climate. It's about the green. It's everything. So I think this really changed in the last, I would say, months, actually, not even years. And then I'm also quite sure that the this block building between the US and China, that this is crying for a more stable environment, being in Argentina, being somewhere else, being in Europe. I mean, people are looking where can they locate with their families and live a secure and safe life. And I think these are the criteria becoming much more important. People are looking for an ecosystem not only for their business, but also for their private life. And I think countries, cities, regions have to think about that. I think it's circular. On one way, you have to attract great companies to build a great ecosystem. Then this will bring more talents, and talents then will bring more companies. So it's like a circle. And I think this is what companies have to think about employer branding, but I think cities, countries, regions have to think about employer branding too, and think about what makes their city attractive for talents.
Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate that. Private life as well, a lot of businesses. Carolina, I saw you nodding when Sonia mentioned a few things. Can everybody hear me?
I can't listen to you.
Can hardly hear you.
There's a lot of background noise from the organization, not from here. I think it's more silent. Can you hear me better now?
Yes,
I think you
better,
can.
yes.
Now it's perfect.
Okay, Carolina, I saw you nodding, agreeing with some of the things that Sonia just mentioned, and perhaps you can emphasize on, what are the most important trends or say initiatives the city or the greater city of Buenos Aires is planning to implement in order to strengthen investment ecosystem and the attraction for the next few years. I think it's important for the audience and the participants here. Some initiative that you're taking, please.
Thank you. Yes, actually, I was listening to our previous colleagues because I couldn't agree more with everything that they both said. With Sonia, of course, I completely agree that people, especially after the pandemic, is thinking about not only for business conditions, but for quality of life. People want to live and to stay with their family safe, as she said, and is looking for green spaces and a good quality air. And the climate change agenda is going to be one new topic that people is going to have into account when deciding all this. Buenos Aires has been taking that agenda for too many years ago. Actually, our mayor is vice president of C40, one of the networks for climate change for cities, one of the most important for sure. And this year we launched our climate change plan to be carbon neutral for 2050. So that's why I was understanding the point that she was going to. And also, I think I agree also with Laila when she talked about a long-term vision. For sure, you cannot think about the next few months and the next, 1 year or 2 years. Even the pandemic showed us that 2 years is nothing when something arises. So, in that case, Buenos Aires is a good example of how to promote talent and retain with long-term policies and business-friendly environment. A very, very clear example is our economic district policy. For example, we created a technology district in 2008 with a long-term vision that offers a lot of benefits. And today we have more than 300 technology-based companies and 2 universities in that district. So thinking about long-term policies is like one of main issues when cities are trying to attract talent. We have also the technology and the audiovisual arts and design districts, and we have almost 1,000 companies there. And it was a long-term policy. We couldn't expect these results after a year of creating those. So that's why I was completely agree with both of them. As to promote and to pay attention into new trends, we are definitively thinking about promoting this new trend about nearshoring, which is very well known, and you have a lot of studies that proves that for Latin America, we have a great quantity of opportunity to attract in Buenos Aires City, especially regarding talent. All those companies of US and Europe that are thinking about relocating part of their process, for sure they can think in Buenos Aires for doing that. And for that, we are planning to host the first regional conference of nearshoring in Buenos Aires next year, maybe, with the support of the IDB, which has been talking about this with us. And another maybe initiative that we are thinking for next year is to get it done, our technology and innovation park, which will bring together biotechnology companies, university, applied research, science. I think those two events are going to be very important for working with attracting talent and new trends.
Thank you, Carolina. I couldn't agree more with what Laila emphasized, Sonia, and yourself in terms of having a long-term vision on talent attraction. Funny thing is, I've recently been involved in a number of countries in developing a sort of an FDI vision, economic growth vision, and not many countries do have a vision. It's remarkable. They don't even have a vision on economic growth. And when you look at the private sector, a company that doesn't have a vision today is bound to be, not seen or exposed, especially for talent. You want to attract talent within your company, you need to have leadership, you need to have a long-term view of where you are going to bring your company to, what is the direction, what is the roadmap, and which steps are you taking to do so. I think many countries or cities need to do the same. And building on that vision, you can develop strategy, and then you can develop policy. What many countries and cities tend to do is they first make a policy, and then they want to push in a strategy or a vision. That really doesn't work because it starts to challenge each other. It's going to be very difficult. So just some comments there. We have about 8 to 10 minutes left. Augusto, what do you see as if you can, what do you see as some of the challenges in your part of the world for attracting talent or attracting companies in new economy? What do you think, not only your part of the economy, but also the other parts, what you see is going to be stumbling blocks or obstacles for moving that process forward?
Yeah, no, just one, before I answer that question, Douglas, I think I just want to comment about that comment you just made about the vision. And, if there is a country that can showcase the vision, I think it's the UAE, right? The UAE 50 years ago, and that's why we're in the 50th year. And the UAE today, the change is massive, right? And you see how this country has become one of the leading countries in terms of innovation and technology. And you see what is happening this year, the Expo and all these companies such as Amazon W Services establishing 3 data centers in Abu Dhabi, Algami, which is a local, let's say, from the region, music stream company becoming public in NASDAQ, and so many other examples. Bestly from Korea having a cloud services here in Abu Dhabi. So I think that is a reflection of a long vision that now is reflecting here. So I totally agree with you, Douglas. The vision and the leadership of the vision is very important, which, I think this country has been blessed with that. Now, to answer your question, of course, there is still some challenges. And I think COVID has shown us some opportunity in terms that, you can work from anywhere to everywhere. And that's how we are trying to position Abu Dhabi. in Abu Dhabi, the idea is that, of course, you can cover the local market and the regional market, which is important. It's a new market for companies, or for many companies that haven't explored the GCC region. But the beauty to be established in Abu Dhabi is that because of the legal framework and because the internet capacity, you can cover the entire world. Some people don't realize that in a range of 8 hours, you can cover from Korea, Japan, China, to all the way to Europe, to Spain, where you guys are, Spain, UK, and so on. So you can cover actually 80% of the population from Abu Dhabi. And that's the beauty to be here. So I think one of the main roadblocks is about knowledge, the knowledge gap that the people have of the different ecosystems. And that's where, it's very important for the business promotion agencies to be in the market, to establish meaningful relationships with, the companies, and explain all the advantages to be part of that ecosystem. And therefore, that's why Abu Dhabi Investment Office, and this is just a quote here, we are going to a new stage. We are opening 8 international offices, and actually I'm the head of international office in Abu Dhabi Investment Office. We are opening international offices in different locations in the United States, in UK, in France, in Germany, in China, in Korea, in Israel, to do that, to increase or to reduce better the knowledge gap that the companies could have Abu Dhabi. And establish this, meaningful relationship. So yeah, for me, that is the main challenge that we are going to face in the coming years.
Thank you, Augusto. Thank you for emphasizing that. In terms of a long-term vision, yes, I couldn't agree more. The UAE is probably one of the first nations in the world that already developed a vision of where it wants to become, probably already 25 years ago. So it's very good to see that, and thanks for emphasizing that. We have about 5 minutes left, slightly less.
Yeah, can I add something to what Augusto said? Your question of the challenges.
Yeah, very briefly, yes.
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, yes, very briefly, please.
Yes,
go ahead.
very briefly. I just wanted to say, regulatory framework is extremely important for talent relocation. A lot of cities are doing a lot of things to create that kind of environment to relocate talent to those cities. But how quick is the regulatory reform is being done is crucial. So if you are going, for example, to relocate to Europe, some people will wait for a year and a half for issuing a driving license, or waiting for their work permit for so many months. So the regulatory framework has to be looked at in order to enable the relocation of talent. And then there's a simple problem, which is scarcity of some talents. Like, for example, in aviation, air traffic controllers, we don't simply have enough in the world. Pilots, we don't have simply enough in the world. So scarcity of some jobs and some skills is extremely important to understand the challenges of getting those talents into the country. There's simply not enough people doing certain things, and AI is coming, and we need more people doing new skills in this era, which is not there. So educational system has to produce a lot of these skills in the future.
Thank you, Laila. And again, listening to both, to all of you, I think the order is what we've all learned in university or colleges is develop a vision, then you have a strategy, then you have the implementation roadmap, then you have the policy. I think those 4 ingredients are very important, and the order of doing those is very important. I couldn't emphasize that more. You have about 2 to 3 minutes left. I think only 2 minutes left. And I would like to get back to you on the question I had before while I was listening to all of you. And please just raise your hand if you want to answer the question. Is talent, just say yes, and then briefly in one sentence, why you think that's the case. Is attracting talent becoming more important than attracting FDI? So yes or no, and why in one sentence? Who wants to take a shot? Sonia, please, go ahead. Very brave, very courageous.
So I don't think, so for me it's no, but I think you can't do one without the other. Because if you have great companies, then talent will come. But talent doesn't come if you don't have great companies. So you have to do both. And I think your focus, the focus of a city, a region, a country, has to be not only on FDI, but also on talent. And I think that's what will change, or already has changed now, and will change more and more in the near future, because we need both, actually. And if we want to be in a technology oriented world, which we all want to be, if I listen to all my colleagues, then we need both.
Thank you, Sonia. It was not one sentence, but
sorry.
Augusto, very quickly, we're in our last minute, and I promise to finish.
I completely agree with Sonia, but my answer is yes, because exactly with the same argument, if you attract talent, therefore you attract FDI.
Very good. Thank you, Augusto. I would love to continue this conversation with you, especially also next year, most likely live, all in Barcelona. That would be excellent. That would be very great. I will do my effort to be there again. I really appreciated your time that you made available for joining me in this exciting session. Thank you very much. Thank you as well for all the audience who tuned in and listened to us. I hope you've taken away some tips and tricks to work with, and some good advice and recommendations from this pool of experts. Carolina, Sonia, Laila, Augusto, thank you very much. I appreciate it very much, and have a wonderful day, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our guests, both physically and both online. And thank you, Douglas, for your nice job. Thank you. Ahora vamos a hacer una pequeña pausa de unos 8 o 9 minutitos y a la 1 en punto vamos a poder escuchar una de las Inspirational Talks. La va a ofrecer Ed Gillespie y es sobre cómo reimaginar ciudades. Después de esa charla, a partir de las 2 en punto, aquí con más B-News sobre Economic